Intro.
The intro. Here we go.
Hey. Hey, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Real Shenanigans. I am Jenerro.
I am Phoebe.
And we are so glad that you're back here with us again for another episode of Real Shenanigans, where we're just going to talk about different things in the industry, talk about film, TV, news, and just have some real fun while we're doing it. I think this episode where we're talking about South by Southwest.
Oh, if you've seen the title, you know that one of us, I'm not naming names, one of us went to South by Southwest and one of us did not. And I'm a little sad about it.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I'm a little sad.
Hey, it wasn't for a lack of trying, man.
It was not. That is fair. Plane tickets were a little bit pricey.
That's true.
But that's okay. We're going to go next year. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. How are you today?
I'm good.
I am good.
I'm good. I'm a little bit tired, but I am good.
Hey, it happens.
How are you?
I am great. Like I told you.
That's good.
But I am great. No, it's been great. I've kind of just been relaxing. Still trying to recover a little bit from South by. It was a long week. I don't think that was a whole week, but a lot of talking.
You were there for like 5 or 6 days, weren't you?
Yeah, from Saturday to Wednesday, so not quite a week. Probably like.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But still, a lot of talking, a lot of staying up way past my bedtime. A couple of days I stayed up till 8 a.m. Why? Who knows? But it was a great time, and I do not regret it. I'm just now trying to recover. I have my tea, trying to heal my voice. I don't know if my voice sounds a little scratchy here, but it's fine. We are still rocking.
Everything's fine. Well, since you went and you got to have so much fun, for any of you who don't know, South by Southwest happens in Austin, Texas, which is a couple of hours from where we live. And it is a film, arts, music, media, technology, media festival.
South by Southwest rocks.
It's art and music and film. It's such a beacon of light. It's cultural.
The multiple industries that kind of combine. Combination of people and ideas.
This many people who can affect so much change, talking about so many different ideas.
A ton of talented people, great food, and great music.
New talent, classic vintage talent. Mixing those two together always leads to inspiration for both sides.
All of this amazing talent from my community, all different types of humans. It opens its arms to like originality.
A really creative and open-minded crowd.
The audiences at South by are the best.
Our audiences want to laugh, they want to have a good time.
Town itself has got such an amazing energy to it.
You can tell from the energy of Austin, the power and the magic of filmmaking.
I love this town, and this is where my career started.
Huge guests, very intimate spaces.
You will meet new people, that you have the same purpose in life.
Meet people and network and learn and have fun. And so that confluence just makes it a unique opportunity.
Every hour, there's like 20 different things that you potentially could go to. So the one bummer about South by Southwest is you can't hit everything.
Yeah.
Great time. Like I said, went up on a Saturday, came back on Wednesday. Well, actually, I came back there Thursday. I ended up staying another night. Didn't expect to. But yeah, went up with a couple of other filmmakers, Vered Rodriguez, Nick Pinelli, Victoria Yap. So we all went up, shared an Airbnb, and it was very fun. Previously went to Sundance earlier this year and met a lot of different people. And it kind of gives me the same vibes where basically it really, at least here in Houston, since we're not exposed to the LA vibes, the New York vibes, it is very sometimes, I won't say it gets depressing, but it can just feel like you're just running on the hamster wheel of how do we get our projects to that next step? And going out to these festivals, meeting bigger producers, people who have done this journey of making $10-15 million movies. It was a lot of fun and just very inspiring. everybody was super down to earth. Everybody was a lot of fun to talk to. Everybody seems to be very helpful and just being very supportive of each other's projects. Obviously, there's a lot of business that is done there as well, but just listening to the panels and getting to see X celebrity or X person talk about their journey of getting to where they are, it may seem redundant, but it is very inspiring to me personally to see, okay, yeah, they didn't just wake up and become Pedro Pascal. They didn't just wake up and become a Brad Pitt or a Christopher Nolan or a Ava DuVernay, whatever. They had to go through those journeys as well. So, there was a couple of producers that I talked to that had like some big name artists in their films. And just the way they were talking was just, not saying they were nonchalant about it, but it was just very chilled. And it was just like, in my mind, I'm like freaking, I was like, oh my God, I can't even imagine to get Pedro Pascal in a film or Brad Pitt in the film. You're like, oh my God, how does this work? But, obviously that is going into more of understanding the business of the industry and recognizing, hey, you have to kind of package your art in a way that is able to be consumable by the masses, right? Not saying going out and hustling, going city to city or going to theater in your town isn't worth it, but there is something to the whole aspect of partnering with people who are into that scale. And again, it depends on what you want to do with your art in general as well. So my biggest philosophy that I've wanted to do is I want to make a project that is able to make me financially stable. That is my goal. I don't think that makes the integrity or what I want to do with the film any more different, but there are little things that we've had to tweak to be able to package it in a certain way. Understanding those little nuances of business and the art and just that whole jazz has really just kind of jacked me up and inspirational. I keep telling you every time I come back, I'm just like on cloud nine a little bit and just kind of figuring out, all right, what's our next move? What do we have to do now? I come back with these ideas of like, all right, this is what we got to do with Banjo Beaver, and this is what we got to package, and this is what we got to do. So it's exciting. Hopefully, some of the people we've encountered, some of the meetings we've had will turn into fruition.
Yeah.
Love it. If we don't, hey, we're going to still go out here, grind, still make some content, still going to go out here and do what we got to do to move forward. But it is fun to really understand a little bit more. It kind of reminds me of times of like when I was still in the NFL, of just like, when I first got with the team, I'm just like, with the Texans, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in the Texans locker room. I'm getting to see such and such every single day. I'm getting to see GWade every single day. Or it just becomes, all right, this is just my job now. Not saying that it is a cool job, but that relaxing of understanding.
It's more normalized to you.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's not like it's now it's out of the clouds. It's like in your hand, and you're like, okay, I'm doing this. This is actually what my life is. And you're not kind of putting it on a pedestal anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so funny that you were saying that because I recently had a discussion and we were talking about the act of not putting people on pedestals and of when you make somebody your equal on playing ground, it's a lot easier to confidently get your point across, confidently show what you are able to do and what you can bring to the table so that you can work with that person. And stop making it I want to work for you and make it I want to work with you scenario.
Yeah.
And seeing
I will say that is one of the biggest things, definitely a big takeaway that I have understood of, when you're talking to people, you're talking to X producer or X director and you want to share your project, which is fine. But at the same time, speaking very confidently in a fashion of what I have to offer you is something that you should be interested in versus just like, oh, please make my stuff. And being in that kind of desperate. And it's kind of twofold. Like I always say that the same thing with actors where sometimes we can get into a desperation mode if you haven't booked something in a while and just like, oh, anybody that starts talking about a project, oh, please keep me in mind, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, still being cool about it. And if that part is right for you, they will reach out, or still fostering that connection in a genuine sense where they will think of you when they do have something, or they may write something for you particularly. It's kind of the same thing on the producer end of not feeling the pressure of having to, somebody's gotta invest in me, or such as it. Like, of course we're gonna feel it when we really are passionate about what we're trying to get told, but being able to confidently say, tell your project, give them your pitch, but then in a way where it's that confidence of like, yeah, if you don't like it, hey, I'm gonna go talk to somebody else too. So then it becomes that real, hey, you're confident in yourself, you're confident in your work, you're confident that they should invest in you versus just
right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with that confidence, make sure that it's confidence and not being cocky, because what makes it confidence is backing up the work. It's like, yeah, I can come to you because we are going to be mutually beneficial to each other. It's not, I wrote this really good script and I know it's good, and so you should know it's good, and not having anything to back that up.
You gotta show your work.
Yeah, you gotta show your work, and you have to show your worth, but you have to do it without being desperate. And because nobody wants to work with it's literally like dating. You don't want somebody who's like, I want to date you, I have to date you because you are so amazing, and oh my god, if we were just dating you would see how amazing no, you would run. You would not want to be in that scenario.
Please date me, please.
Please love me. Please let me love you. Like, no, nobody wants to be in that situation, but
you just want to be loved. No.
But if you are going in and you're like, hey, we have this thing in common, we are on the same wavelength, we're going towards the same goal, this is what I have to offer, and this is what I think you could offer, and what we could make. Just like making somebody your equal and not putting them on a pedestal, it goes such a long way.
Definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like, I do think fandom is such a weird thing sometimes, of how we do inherently make people into something. I don't know. It's such a fascinating thing of like, why is this person this? Yes, I am all for, hey, they've achieved something. Let's give them their flowers of they've done the work to get there. But the fandom part of just like, oh my god, I can't believe this. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's something that still wouldn't happen to me. If tomorrow they were like, oh, go get on set with Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm be like, oh my god, I cannot act with this man. Like, so it's just funny, but it's just a funny thing to me of just how we just all of a sudden get into these modes of just like kind of revering people. And I guess it does come down to the work that they have done, where you are kind of in a de facto honoring the work. For most people, there is a lot of people out there that I think fandom is just like, how did this person become famous? I don't know.
There are, especially now. I mean, I won't go on my tangent about social media as we make social media, but it is. It's one of those things. I think
I love a good tangent.
I think it goes.
What really grinds your gears, Phoebe?
I can't even say social media anymore, because now it is a legitimate job for people. And having watched how people grind to make social media their full-time jobs and seeing what they have to go through, and they have fully made it a business, and you do have to have some type of business savvy to be successful in social media. So I will never take that from anyone who's become famous off of it. What grinds my gears is and I know it's marketing and it is literally just how things sell nowadays, but when somebody who is in social media, when I go to somebody and I'm like, hey, I have been in this industry for 20 something years of my life. I have the degrees. I have the studying. I have worked on professional sets. And the first thing out of somebody's mouth is, well, how many followers do you have? That?
I was just talking about that with somebody today.
Oh, God.
We were talking about
That.
that. And that's the weird thing, right? It is that balance of, I understand. I mean, that's in general effectively the same thing as big studios do, right? Where they're gonna go get The Rock because they know they're gonna leverage his audience to bring you to watch X movie. They're gonna go get a Kevin Hart. They're gonna go get a John Cena, whoever, and you're leveraging that person's audience. But there is that interesting aspect of, like you said, of, all right, we've built this audience with something totally that's kind of irrelevant to what we're
It's
trying to
separate.
do. I was helping a friend with an audition today, and we were talking about where, she went out for this audition, and they were more willing to cast people who have never acted before just because they had a high following as the lead actors versus having good actors. And that right there, that's a big grind of the gears where it's like, okay, you're leveraging this audience that they may have, but if they can't deliver the product that we're trying to do, now the movie's going to be terrible. So it doesn't matter that they have an audience. You're just going to show them an audience that doesn't matter. Like that's a bad product, right?
But that's the issue now, is because what is it for, like, every, and this probably is really, really off, so I don't know if this statistic is correct or not, but it's like for every 10,000 subscribers or followers or whatever you have, it's guaranteed like 1,000 people who will come watch. So if you have a million, whatever, do the math. They're like, whether it's going to be good or not, and again, this is a marketing thing. They're like, and this is why I hate when like studios and like get involved, not studios specifically, but like when numbers people get involved and not arts people get involved. And it's because they are numbers people. They have these numbers. They know that they have spent this much money. And so they know they have to make this much money back for it to be worth it to them.
It's
to
got to
do
work
the investing.
It's got to work.
And
because the numbers do matter. They do matter.
100%. If you're spending $5 million on a movie, you're going to want your $5 million back. And I fully understand that. But there is a way to balance it.
Well, you're going to want more than that because all you're making back is your initial investment. You want to.
But that's what I'm saying. You're going to want that money back. And so, yes, you have to be able to. But the thing is, they were making these movies long before social media was ever a thing. So they were making their money back.
Yeah.
They've just found a new way to do it.
Oh, I mean, social media has made everything easier. And, with social media, I will say there's probably less ads out there, like movie ads on the actual television, right?
Oh,
100%. Like I used to, back in the day, see movie trailers play all the time during like regular commercial spots. But I see them, but it's not tons now. And especially it's usually right before the movie's about to drop, like a big blockbuster, right? For the most part, I see things on here, YouTube or
on YouTube
media or other avenues versus regular network. Because obviously network, you're going to pay X amount of dollars to get your ads out. I mean, outside of Super Bowl or big sporting events like the Final Four or, World Series, whatever, you may not. I think NBA every year when they normally have like the finals, you usually see some big tentpole budget in their marketing platform to be like, oh, the NBA finals, and then the Aquaman's coming out, whatever, something, and I get it. But at the end of the day, like we talk about, you got to have a good product. If you don't have a good product, who cares? You think about Fast and Furious, right? They've made 1 million of them. I think it was like the last one, Fast X. I think I heard that it was upwards to 320 million. I'm not 100% sure. If I'm wrong, please comment in the comments what that actual was. I think it was close to that. Their budget was. I think it was the highest rated budgeted movie out there at that time. It was higher than Dune 2. That's what's wild.
They spent more money on Fast X than Dune 2.
Yep. Which is absolutely wild to me if you look at the different qualities of the film.
I need to
right?
caveat with that.
But,
I love all the Fast and the Furious movies, but
right? It's mindless fun, but you think
Exactly.
about all those audiences: Ludacris's audiences, Tyrese's audience, Vin Diesel's audience, Michelle Rodriguez's audience. Who else is in there now? Everybody's in this.
Everybody. Well, Dwayne
They
The Rock
got
Johnson. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
The Rock. I think The Rock just came back. John Cena's
Yeah.
in it. It's just like all these different people. So obviously, you're probably spending
on their salaries alone.
on just salaries alone.
Yeah.
So you haven't even made the film for crew, all that stuff, marketing.
I do have to caveat because we do keep on bringing up like John Cena or like The Rock or Kevin Hart or whatever. I get them because they can act. Let's just, for argument's sake, say like The Rock. He started out, you bought him in, he was WWE, all of that, and that he brought that up. But now, where he has proven himself.
Yeah, he
is an actor. He isn't. You know what I'm saying?
I think the only thing he hasn't been box office on was possibly Black Adam, but I think that had a lot to do with the superhero. I don't want to say superhero fatigue, but superhero mediocrity, where especially the DC ones have started the quality of them.
Yeah. And I think it needs to be said that like we are obviously, yes, those are examples because those are who people know and we can use that as an example. We are not talking specifically about them. We are talking about when they bring in an influencer to bring in an influencer for influencer's sake, who has literally nothing to do with the entertainment, has never wanted to act before, will not want to act after. They are literally doing this because some films said, yes, we will pay you because you have 5 million or whatever it is.
But
that's
they have 5
what irritates
followers from all their travel pics and
exactly, and has literally nothing to do with acting or entertainment. And again, we went off on a tangent because we're supposed to be talking about South by Southwest, and I promise we will get back to that. But that is at least what I'm talking about when I say I get irritated when you see that I have the talent, or you see that I have the experience, and the first thing out of your mouth is, how many followers do you have? That gets under my skin. And maybe it's just like, I'm an old millennial. I was around before social media was, so my brain is still kind of there. Like, you don't have to have social media to make something good. But I understand, still being a millennial and seeing how social media has grown, why they do it. And so it's a weird balance. And I feel like if there's a better way to balance it than what is currently happening right now.
And that's what grinds Phoebe's gears.
Thank you for joining us on What Grinds Phoebe's Gear.
Thank you.
Next week we will.
Thank
you for coming to my TED.
Next week she'll talk about
die on this hill.
Yes, South by Southwest.
South by Southwest. Let me ask you, what was your favorite part about the festival?
Networking. It's an inside joke. It was, like I said, just honestly meeting people. You know me, I'm a social butterfly. I love talking. I love learning about people and generally just understanding what their backgrounds were and just talking. And, my goal is always to go into with outside of business alone, just make genuine relationships, friendships of people in the industry and being able to, hopefully work together professionally at some point. But, it was just, I'll say just genuine, just meeting the different people was one of my biggest takeaways, from panels to the networking events to the parties at the end. That's what I really take away. It's just meeting the personalities of people. And it really felt refreshing, seeing people at every level, from student filmmakers to people who were established in the industry, where we're all in the same room talking, getting to know one another. There was no real egos about, oh, well, I've done this, da 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 da. But it was a genuine, how can I help? And that's what I felt. Anytime I talked about one of our projects or somebody else was talking about one of their projects, where it was just this reciprocal, we've been there, and hey, this is an idea, or this is somebody I can connect you with that could possibly help. That's what I felt, and that's what I truly took away from it. Obviously, one of the big highlights was doing a table read out there with Verid Rodriguez. Her script, she organized a table read for her feature, and it was absolutely amazing. I had to kind of like sit there one day, and I was like, that day we had a meeting with a producer, and then later on that afternoon we went and did the table read. So I'm just sitting there, like, after the table read, I'm just like, today was a hell of a day, and it just really had me fired up of just like, not saying that anything's going to come of that meeting, or not saying that, not sure, the status of the project, but it was just kind of cool to, like, I can sit here as an actor and be like, I got to do a table read at South by Southwest, right? I got to sit up here and have a meeting at South by Southwest. So it just really kind of, again, chips away that mystique, that allure of it seeming impossible, where it's like, we're getting out here doing it. And that's what I would encourage outside. I get it. It is a financial investment. There are, it's best to plan. But if you have the means and you really do want to get out here and meet other people who have done it, yes, are there going to be some conversations that, again, I went into it not saying, oh, every conversation has to be a connection to lead to something, right? I went into it where I genuinely just wanted to learn from people and genuinely wanted to just hear about their films and, be able to connect with people and then be able to support them. And then to me, I'm all about, hopefully that'll get paid forward to our stuff, where now we have something at these festivals, which we will one day, that now these same people that I was there for supporting, that now they'll be there for us. And that just becomes a fun journey, and I enjoyed it.
I think that's the key with your particular way of networking, is that you don't go into it with any expectation. You are just genuinely a social person. So when you go and have a conversation with someone, you are going to have a conversation with them. You are not going into it wanting something from them. And people can read that and then want to have a real conversation, and then that builds a real connection. So I feel like that is one of your strengths, and why you are able to connect with as many people as you are, is because every time you go into it, you're not going into it with, what can you do for me? I'm going to have this conversation. It's going to be real surface because I just want to get to the point of why I'm talking to you. You're having an actual conversation.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's just my own particular view. And I I feel like that's how I would bestow anybody with that type of advice, of if your goal is just to make a connection just for something to happen, then it's not genuine. It's just very transactional. And again, just with the whole desperation aspect of it, people can smell that, where, going into it, being genuine, wanting to learn. And of course, we all want business wise for our projects to get made as well. But you do start to realize, okay, this is somebody, because not all money is good money as well. So you could meet somebody who has the money, but they could be total assholes. So it's not all good money, but then you meet somebody that's like, hey, this person's a really good person. They really believe in your project, and they are just as invested as you are. And it's not just is not just transactional as well. It's a very being proud of the project as well. Again, the business has to get done. That's why we're all in it. We want to be financially independent doing film, want to be able to provide while making our art, but at the same time, it kind of is that hand in hand aspect of it,
Yeah. So
But,
can I ask? Go ahead.
No.
How did you link up and get to do the table read? Because that sounds like a lot of fun. I love table reads, so that sounds like a lot of fun.
So yeah, my friend Verid Rodriguez, she is a filmmaker from New York, originally from Israel, from New York, but lives here in Houston. I met her at a mixer a year and change ago.
Okay.
And we've stayed in contact. I won't say we talk every day, but we talk pretty often. And she's actually one of the people that was at Sundance as well that, you know, kind of helped me pull that trigger to just go to Sundance. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be here and I'll introduce you to these people. And I was just like, okay, she had done that grind before. So, you know, it's always that comfortable feeling of you know somebody who's done it and you're not going into a total cold turkey and like, I don't know where to start. Cause it can be overwhelming. There's so much to do. And I say so much.
Yeah.
Sundance over South by. Sundance is just a strictly film festival. South by is film, music, tech, all of that. So there's even more stuff piled on. So if you go through the menu, it can get very overwhelming. You might not know where to go. You know, again, that benefit of knowing Verit and going to Sundance, then she introduced me to some people. So then we were able to kind of like link back up with people that we knew at South by. And that's what really kind of made it fun. But yeah, so knowing her is kind of where kind of led to that. So she told me, you know, one of the guys that she works with does some stuff with South by, and so it was an unofficial event, but still, it was still out there at the same time. So, but yeah, she wanted to put on this table read. She's been working hard on her script for a while, but yeah, so she wanted to do it and asked me and Vicky and Nick to be a part because we all did an Airbnb together, and that was, you know, part of our. It was a lot easier to find housing to be with other filmmakers that we knew, and so then we were able to divide and conquer. So then we helped out with the table read, and it was just a lot of fun. Got to meet some other talented actors from all over, from New York, from Austin, from everywhere. So it was just very fun, and that's kind of how I got roped into it. So kind of was like a weird little badge of honor. I was like, oh yeah, I can do a table read at South by.
This is what I did.
Yeah.
Watch it. Do you have any clips or anything from it?
We have. I know they did record it, but I'm not sure. I think the batteries ran out. But I think it was mainly just so she could hear if there was any changes that she wanted to make and kind of in her development process. But I do have some pictures on my social media at GWade05. You guys can check out some of our pictures and see some of the other hardworking cast that was part of the table read. You can check out their Instagram handles. So definitely, I'd say if you want to see some other cool, talented actors, go on there, look on their Instagram pages, and if there's other filmmakers out there that think they're great, hey, go. I hope this can be a place where we are helping to connect other people to other filmmakers, and we're all able to get out here and get our projects done.
For real. Honestly, this is so funny because these few weeks have been just table reads and staged readings. And
you just had a table read too, right?
I did. I had a couple. So yeah,
me.
I know. So my friend Tina, she is an actor out here, and I met her through class out here. But she is also a writer, a comedy writer, and she wrote 2 pilots. And so we did a stage reading for that, and that was a lot of fun. So we read both of the half-hour pilots, and it's awesome to get to hear it off the page. And I can only imagine from her end. I've had staged readings for my own stuff, but like it's fun doing it for other people because you can read it in your head so many times, but then
you know, I think it's sometimes too. I like, honestly, I think that's part of the producing process that I do kind of like as well, where not saying that when you are the writer, director, and stuff like that, like sometimes I do feel like you got to have that buffer of stepping away. And I do like adding those little elements that may not have been thought of, you know, when you're right in the thick of it, right? Because you can one, view it with an objective lens, I think more. When it's your baby, you're like, oh no, this is it.
I don't want
This is
to.
nobody's gonna use this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice too, at least with the ones that I've done, is we always have a talk back after. And so we're getting real-time feedback from audience members, from other actors who are in it, who are like, oh, this either works or this doesn't, or you get to see if jokes hit or they don't hit, specifically for like the comedy thing. And then with the other staged reading that I did, and by the time this video comes out, that will have already happened. But it was for a contest for writers. So the whole objective was for them to be able to see their work and have it presented in front of also industry professionals to get feedback. So, any constructive feedback.
No, definitely. And that's, that gave us the idea too of, I think this is something that we should continue of like having these types of table reads at these festivals where, cool, it's hard to get these, bigger industry executives to get meetings, but most of them are at these festivals. And it's like, hey, come by, check us out.
Yeah.
And then you never know what your script, who it can affect. And it can also help you in that regard of, I really like that story. And they may take an hour at a time to come by and check it out and be like, hey, yeah, let's talk. So, I think it's an idea that we've been playing around with now. So hopefully, we can do one at our next festival that's coming up. But
what was one of your so I know the table read was like your favorite event to go to. Was there something or someone that you met that kind of particularly stood out to you while you were there? Or is there anything maybe you would want to do differently for next year when we go?
I will say that a couple of people that I met at Sundance, Ramphis, Christy, AJ, there were Ramphis Productions, Weston, Misfits, all these guys. They're really genuine guys and gals. And we, meeting a lot of these people at Sundance was very fun because, like I said, it was interesting where felt like I got accepted into the fold very quickly. Our group got accepted, and they are really all about, again, just kind of things that we've talked about of really following our dreams and really pursuing what we want to pursue. And they're just genuine people. And I feel like, each reunion at these festivals is just going to keep growing and fostering these relationships even more. Whereas like, it's not even an aspect of like, we all might work together one day. I'm sure they've worked together, but it's just being around them. It's just good synergy. And again, seeing other people do great things, it motivates me of like, hey, we got to up our game to that point and not feel like it's impossible. Like being here in Houston, I do feel like, there's a lot of good filmmakers here in Houston, a lot of people doing a lot of good things. But there is that sometimes thought of, well, where can it go besides just Houston and seeing our audience? How do we expand out of that audience? How do we do something bigger than ourselves, right? Because I feel like that is a big daunting thing of like, we see it all the time, stuff on Netflix, these new drops that are in theaters that are worldwide releases, where sometimes I feel like it can feel a little daunting of like, ooh, can we get there? Yeah. And I think it's possible. Well, I know it's possible. I know it's possible. It's just talking and really perfecting our craft, surrounding yourself with good people, and we all need uplifting every now and then. That's part of the reason we vibe so well is because there's times where I'm down, you lift me up. There's times that you're down, I lift you up, and we need that team. And even if that team is just people who are uplifting you and believing in your project, you need those people. So I think those are some of the great people that I met out at South by. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Do you have a takeaway from it?
I think outside of that, I didn't actually see a film.
Okay.
It's so funny because it's so, like I said, it's so much to do where you know, with the badge, you do have access to an online portal for those who didn't know. So, I'm going to watch some of the films on there versus, well, I don't want to go stand in line for X amount of time to go watch said film. Yes, it's cool because you get to be at the world premiere, which, that's cool.
Yeah.
But not taking away that experience. But at the other time, I'm like, I don't want to spend 4 hours doing that or go do other events. And then too, we didn't stay there the whole time. So a couple of days got a late start where, we stayed out at different
8
parties.
in the morning.
There was one event where we stayed, literally got home. It was 8:30 in the morning. I'm like, why am I still up? It's just not okay. But it's an experience that I cannot, that will not be able to be taken away from me. And I do very much, that particular staying up was brutal, but the experience surrounding it, I will carry with me for a lifetime. So.
Honestly, yeah, I've never actually been to the events at South by Southwest. One of my best friends from high school was outside at South by Southwest a couple of years ago for like the tech environmental side of things. And so I drove down to meet him, and we were at like the red carpet. We were not at the red carpet. We went to go see the red. Let me be very clear. We went to go see the red carpet for Ready Player One. But I literally just remember standing outside because I don't go to a lot of red carpet events unless unless I was going to be part of it. I don't just go to go. But going and standing outside of it and seeing everyone walk in, seeing everyone, we were across the street because, my anxiety was like, no. But being there and seeing it and literally just having like one of my best friends from high school be like, that's going to be you one day. And I was just like,
yeah.
I see what you did there.
That right there. That right there, honestly, is the thing that is the most, because it, like I said, it just it demystifies it, where it's like, hey,
yeah,
it can be you. And again, like, my goal isn't to go become uber famous. I just want to be sustained financially and be able to do what I want to do in life, and create things and be able to travel the world, because that's one of my big things. And I know that's kind of similar things that you have stated as well. But even if your goal is to go be famous, but just believe and just keep working hard and enjoy the ride. I think we all sometimes lose focus on the ride and focus on the destination and not enjoy the journey. And I feel like that is a big part of this all, is enjoying the journey. So but yeah, that was South by. It was a great time, and I cannot wait till the next one. I'm sure there's still tons that I probably forgot to tell everybody, but I say you all just make the trek. South by Sundance.
South by Southwest.
Go to some festival.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
There's festivals all over the country. A lot of great festivals. We're talking about some of the biggest ones in the nation, not just the nation, but in the world. So I highly encourage everybody to at least attend one in general, to just learn from other people outside of your circles, being able to just grow and take away something, whether that be a panel, whether that be meeting idol or whatever, being able to just stand outside the Paramount and see Ryan Gosling walk by, whatever that may be. Take away something, go do it. There's so many other festivals that you can just go to that aren't as expensive as South by and Sundance. So,
and let me tell you, yes, South by Southwest and Sundance can be very, very, very expensive. That being said, you can also do both of them on a budget. I've done Sundance before, and when I tell you I had no money and we made it work, you don't have to be like, you can be at the bottom of the mountain in an Airbnb and sharing with 3 or 4 other girls or guys or whoever you want to room with. You can Yeah, and it is. That's all it is. You can go and get, you don't have to buy packages. Like, you can go and get day passes to things. You can go and do, like, if you just are wanting to go to see screenings, you can go and get specific tickets for just those screenings. Like, so there are ways to do these festivals. Get it. Some of these parties and that are networking events are free. Like, there are ways to go do this on a budget. So if that is your biggest concern, don't let that hinder you. There are always ways to go to these things, network with these amazing humans, and do it in an affordable way.
I agree. And yes. And if anybody has any questions, comments, and put them in the comments, and we'll tell you our tips and kind of give you our feedback on what we've experienced, challenges we faced, and and just kind of, hopefully we can all network at South by or Sundance or one of these film festivals one day. So yeah, just all go out there, keep creating, keep believing, and but Phoebe, go ahead, tell the folks where they can find you.
So, on the socials, you can find me on Instagram at Phoebe Ray 22. You can also find me at _ Phoebe Ray _ let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Is this one of them? This is one of them.
There we go.
Yeah.
_ at _ Phoebe Ray
Yes.
You can find me at GWade05, or please follow our projects at Banjo Beaver Productions, and you can follow Phoebe's acting account at Phoebe Ray.
That's the personal one.
Nope, that's the
I switched them. At some point, I'll fix it.
I messed it all up. Like, subscribe the channel. We can do it without you guys, and we hope that we are providing some fun, entertaining comment. Please leave any other topics you wish for us to discuss, any other fun ideas. Put them in the comments. Like, subscribe. Hope you guys have a great, wonderful evening and have a great day.
Bye.